guys, assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my channel. This is my final video on my Hajj kind of series that I've got going on. If you haven't seen any of them before, I'll put them all in the description down below, so do go check those out. My name is Mariam Hanif. If you guys are new to my channel, do click subscribe and like so I know to do more of these kind of videos. But this is a video on Hajj top tips. These are my Hajj top tips, so if you have any Hajj top tips, please put them in the comments down below so that, you know, whoever is going can help and benefit from them. And inshallah, you will get the benefit for that as well. Top tip number 1, travel buddies. This is so important if you are going with your mum or if you're taking somebody with you. So say, for example, a son is taking his mum with him. If you're going just the two of you, it's so important for her to have a travel buddy. So like, let that be your wife or your sister or whoever it is. Just for somebody to be able to be there with them and share their experience with. If you're going as husband and wife, that's absolutely fine because inshallah you'll be young enough to look after yourselves. But if you're going with an elderly person, do try and take someone with you, because I saw so many people when I was there who were just there on their own, and it was just quite a lonely experience for them, I would have said, because I went with a group, so I went with my whole family, and it was such a lovely experience to be able to sit down at dinner and talk to somebody about it. And I know my husband said this as well, because when he went to Umrah on his own, it was kind of like very lonely in terms of he wanted to tell somebody about what had happened in the day and all this kind of stuff, and there was no one there to share it with. So if you can, and if you can afford it, of course, do try and take a travel buddy with your mother, or if you're taking an elderly person with you. Tip number 2 is try and build up your immune system. And how do you do that? You do that with vitamin C. So start taking vitamin C tablets at least a month or 2 before you travel to Hajj. This is a must, especially if you're out there as well. Try and take as much as you can when you're there. So we just took the tablets and put them in a glass of water and had those every day. And alhamdulillah, none of us got ill or got the Hajji cough or anything like that. And I do believe it was because we built that kind of system up before we went. Number 3, take some comfy shoes for you and your husband. Your husband will refuse before you go. And if he does, just ignore him. Take the shoes with you. I made this horrible mistake of buying Zahid these amazing comfortable shoes that he would have loved, and when he got there he was like, oh, maybe I should have like brought them. He was like, they're ugly and this, that and the other, but they are like what everybody's wearing there. They're so comfortable. It was just those standard Crocs, not like the crazy big flouncy ones. They were quite nice, and he was just not having it. So when he goes there, he will want them. So just pack them in case, and when he wants them, you can just hand them out and give it to him. Tip number 4 is pack all your must-haves in your hand luggage. I've said this 1,000 times and I stand by it, that your luggage will always go missing in Saudi Arabia. So try and pack all your essentials, like your ihram for yourself and your husband, your prayer books, anything essential that you want to take with you, put it in your hand luggage, and take it with you, so that if your bags do get lost, which when we went to Hajj, Zahid's bag did get lost, you are covered, because Zahid will have 2 lovely washed ironed ihrams for him, and you will have yours as well. Try and get some travel insurance. It depends what group you're going with. So some groups have kind of like arrangements anyway, but some groups don't. So do try and get travel insurance. It's not that expensive, but if God forbid anything does happen while you're out there to you or any of your family members, and you have to fly back, it can be extremely expensive, as well as the hospital bills when you're out there. I unfortunately had a scenario out there where I had to go to hospital, and in that situation, that the company that we went with was Al Hidayah, and they alhamdulillah covered everything. The doctors that were in our group, they knew the doctors that were there. It was just an amazing experience. But if I didn't have that group and I was on my own, travel insurance would have been a must. So I would highly recommend just to go do it. It's not that expensive either. It will be like £20 or something. I don't know how much that is in all the other currencies, but it will kind of be really inexpensive. Start walking about a month before. Just try and build up your physical strength. It's about 20 or 30 minutes a day is absolutely fine, especially if you're like an elderly person that doesn't walk that much. Try and get them to just go for a walk in the evening. 20 minutes, 30 minutes is absolutely fine. Safa and Marwa is about 2 miles, and you'll be doing that a few times. So definitely try and get into the habit of walking a lot, as well as, you know, Mina, walking to Shisha. It does get very tiring, and there is a lot of walking and a lot of waiting around, so you do need to be physically ready. Take a copy of all your documents with you, especially your passport, because they take it off you as soon as you get to the airport. Any visas, any like photo IDs of all your group, anything like that, just make sure you have them in your suitcase or in your hand luggage, just in case, God forbid, anything happens, you're kind of like covered and you've got your, you know, passport and stuff, which is kind of the key thing. Before you go, make a list of all the people that you want to buy for, all the things you want to buy when you're out there. You don't want to go there and start faffing around shopping. It is not a place to shop. It is not one of those places where you want to waste time shopping, especially if you have a husband like mine where he just hates shopping altogether. Literally make a list of all the people that you need to buy for, how many beads you want to get, how many janmas you want to get, how many dates you want to buy, like everything. Just write it down so that when you go into the shop you can say, right, how much is it for a, you know, 5 kilos of dates, or how much is it for 15 tasbihs. You need to make sure that you have that, because you don't want to be standing there counting about, or like forgetting or not bringing home enough, because so many people will come over when you do come back. When you are at the Jamarat, try and use the top floor. It's the least busiest. The first and second one gets really full. The top one is escalators, so it's absolutely fine, or there is a lift. So you can go all the way up to the top, and it's just easy to do. And they've made it really, really open as well, so it's quite nice and spacious. Don't try and push and shove. It's not one of those places where you want to do that. You want to be in the purest state you can. Try and get somebody in your group to take a colourful umbrella. It is really important, because people will get lost. Like, people in your group will get lost. And if somebody can see this bright green children's umbrella, you'll see it from a mile away. So take one of those crazy looking umbrellas just so that you can get spotted. For the right reasons. I would highly recommend to take loads of snacks. If you're anything like me, you love eating. Take loads of snacks to Muzdalifah and Arafat. You will be so hungry if you're like me. I don't know if everybody else does this, but for me, I wanted to snack on like dry fruit or anything like chewy or anything like that, just so that I could keep myself going. Otherwise I would be thinking about what's for lunch or what's for dinner or when we're gonna eat. Like, you don't want to be doing that. You just want to be like concentrating on your prayers. So I took this for all my trips. So basically a spray fan that kind of like, it feels like cool water on your face. It's really, really hydrating as well, which was good for when you're out there because it's so dry because of the AC. But it's so important if you are going on ziyaras and things like that, because it gets so hot outside and you want something to be able to cool you down and just bring your temperature down slightly as well. You can get these Evian sprays that are water mist sprays and things like that to cool you down, which is great. But I just found getting a fan was great, especially if you're going to Umrah again and again. You want to be able to say the same thing, not, you know, an Evian water bottle. Highly recommend to eat at the hotel or the food court. Please don't go out and try and get food from like the stalls or the marketplaces. It's not one of those places where you want to eat if you are not used to that kind of food. You want to make sure that you are keeping yourself as healthy and as clean as possible. You don't know how they cook or what they cook in, as well as the fast food places in the food court, which I get is totally true. Not healthy, not good. However, you know that it's not going to give you like a really, really bad tummy. And the hotel, of course, it's going to be fine. Most likely staying in a nice hotel. A lot of people go and get their food after namaz time, so definitely send a mail that's in your group to go and get the food for everybody. You don't want like a rush of people going there because it will be so busy anyway. So just send a guy with a helper if there's loads of you and he needs help with bags. But definitely send a guy and he will collect the food for you and then just eat it in the hotel. The barbers are so busy after Hajj because if you think about it, so many people have done Hajj and at the same time they will be trying to be getting their hair cut. So I would highly recommend for men to take their own trimmers, beard trimmers, shavers, whatever it is, and do it themselves. It just saves a lot of time, so much easier, like a little bit more hygienic, is that the word? Just a little bit more cleaner basically. The farewell dua for Hajj is the busiest time. It took us forever to do our farewell dua. That was the longest dua we've ever done. So definitely get yourself into a group, definitely do the shoulder to hand situation. So it's basically one person in front, like obviously the same person in your group, right? So Zahid in front of me, and I would just basically put my hand on his shoulder for him to know that I'm behind him, and for me to know that I'm safe, that he's there. If he gets lost or whatever, then obviously he'll just put up the umbrella and we'll just be able to find him. But definitely get a group together and do it that way. It will be really, really slow. It will be toe to toe, like not very good. Do not recommend doing it on the ground floor. Definitely go up to the mezzanine where there will be AC and fans to help you out. I've said this in my other video, but definitely pack Imodium because you can't get it in Saudi Arabia, and it's one of those things where if somebody does get ill, you will need Imodium. For Hajj, this is a must, just because there's a lot of waiting around, there's a lot of queuing, especially if there's elderly people in your group. You don't want them standing around for too long. So definitely take a chair with you, a portable chair. It's like a camping chair I took, and it was so handy, so helpful. It had back support as well, so I could just sit down and pray on Arafat and with my umbrella and my fan. It was just ideal. This is like one of my tricks, but a travel iron is a must, especially when you're at Mina, because not many people take a travel iron, and you will need one for your unironed abayas and your husband's unironed thobe. That will happen because it's so damp and like hot in Saudi Arabia, and when you're packing in your bags it just gets really bad. So you do need an iron to make sure that, you know, everything looks nice and crisp. That's about it. So if anybody else has any tips, please put them in the comments below so everybody else can read them and share. Do subscribe and like to my videos, and inshallah I will see you guys very soon. I hope this has been helpful, and please do keep us in your prayers, and I pray that your Hajj goes really well. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.